Downton. I've come into possession of a villa in the south of France.
The Crawley family embarks on a spectacular journey to the south of France in order to solve the mystery behind the Dowager Countess's recently inherited house. The Dowager Countess of Grantham politely recognized a serious unspecified ailment at the close of the previous Downton Abbey film, and there was a melancholy overhead crane image of the majestic home against a cosmic starlit sky before the final titles. We all thought this franchise was over, yet Downton Abbey has returned. Violet Crawley, Dowager Countess of Grantham, acquires a beautiful villa in the south of France. As some of the family prepares to travel to the French Riviera, this revelation spurs the disclosure of secrets from her past. Meanwhile, Violet's granddaughter, Lady Mary Talbot, Michelle Dockery, agrees to let a film crew utilize Downton for their next play. Will everything go off without a hitch? Violet Crawley is nearing the end of her life, as revealed at the end of the first Downton Abbey film, and spends the second feature making trouble and mocking about her past. Violet was in love with the Marquis de Montmirail as a young woman and spent a wonderful summer with him on the French Riviera, according to the film. Violet, on the other hand, married Robert's father, Lord Grantham, and while their marriage lacked the passion she had with Montmirail, it was happy and fertile. The Dowager receives visits from her cherished family and staff as she bids her goodbyes after getting her affairs in order, including leaving Montmirail's villa to great-granddaughter Sybil Sibby Branson. Violet goes away quietly after these lovely scenes. The movie concludes with the entire cast of Downton Abbey, both upstairs and downstairs, following the hearse bringing her casket to her funeral. The film begins with a magnificent ceremony. Tom Branson marries Maud, Lady Bagshaw's illegitimate daughter Lucy Smith. After that, the pair takes a journey to the French Riviera to look around the villa that Tom's daughter Sibby would inherit. Lucy tells Tom she is pregnant with their baby near the end of the movie. The couple is shown visiting Downton Abbey with their baby in the film's last scene. Downton Abbey, A New Era does not feature Matthew Good as Henry Talbot. Despite having appeared in the last film, it appears that Good was unable to record parts for the sequel owing to a scheduled clash with his television show The Offer. Henry is depicted as being away from home, living an exciting life of travel in fast vehicles in the film. Henry's interests appear to be causing problems in his marriage to Lady Mary, who describes marriage as a novel with twists and turns. Despite the developing distance between Mary and Henry, the eldest Crawley daughter refuses to pursue a romance with film director Jack Barber, opting to honor her marital vows over her personal wishes. This is shown to be similar to Mary's grandmother Violet's decisions on her own marriage and affair with Monsieur Montmirail. Mary also remembers her first husband, Matthew Crawley, who she compares to Jack, although Henry is more pragmatic and practical. Henry is also noticeably absent from the Dowager Countess's funeral in the last scenes. Despite the present Marquis de Montmirail's concerns that Robert is the love child of Violet and Montmirail, it is shown that Robert is not. An ailing Violet reveals to Robert near the end of the film that he is truly the legal son of herself and the former Lord Grantham, which relieves Robert. Lady Grantham begins preparing her own will in Downton Abbey, A New Era, which is a troublesome plotline. When it becomes evident that Cora is concealing something, she resolves to tell her beloved Robert that she is ill and may die soon, but that more tests are required. However, following more tests by Dr. Carson, Cora discovers that she is not suffering from cancer as she had thought, but rather from a type of anemia that can be treated. The excellent news makes both Robert and Cora happy. Phyllis Baxter and Joseph Molesley finally get together, despite their slow-burning romance. During the journey to the French Riviera, Miss Baxter acknowledges that if Molesley never asks her to marry him, she will die a spinster. Molesley, on the other hand, thinks he has a stable enough income to ask Miss Baxter after being employed as a screenwriter by Jack Barber near the end of the film. Molesley proposes to Baxter shortly after, and she gladly accepts. Thanks to the microphone system placed by the film crew, the couple discovers that their heartfelt scene has been overheard by everyone in the house. Thomas Barrow leaves Downton Abbey after resigning as a butler. Despite the fact that he fell in love with Richard Ellis, Max Brown, in the last film, Thomas explains that Mr. Ellis has married and that he is resigned to not finding personal happiness. Mr. Barrow is offered the chance to live as the gay actor Guy Dexter's live-in partner and assistant when he travels the world as a movie star but is largely based in Hollywood after building a relationship with him. Barrow departs on excellent terms with everyone as he prepares to depart after encouragement from the likes of Elsie Carson and Lady Mary to pursue personal pleasure. Mr. Carson returns to help the Crawleys in the first film for the royal visit after retiring as Downton Abbey's butler. The Crawleys invite Carson to assist them on their trip to the French Riviera at the request of his wife Elsie, which he gladly accepts. Following the death of the Dowager Countess and Mr. Barrow's departure, Lady Mary invites Mr. Carson to be an interim butler at the home. She asks if he will remain on and assist in the training of Andy Parker, the first footman who will eventually take his place. Mr. Murray leaves his farm, where he had been living with his daughter-in-law Daisy Parker and her new husband Andy, and moves in with Mrs. Patmore, his love interest. Myrna Dalglish, a silent cinema star, overcomes the challenges provided by her screechy Cockney dialect by enlisting the help of Daisy and Anna Bates, as well as some instruction from Cora on how to imitate an American accent. Lady Edith decides that, as much as she loves her house and family with the Earl of Wrexham, she wants to return to journalism, beginning with an article about celebrities visiting the French Riviera.